We're talking with Alamogordo Tigers head football coach A.J. Cisco as we are ready for the 2023 season to get underway. We get started at home this year. Coach, ready for the year to finally start?
I am, man. It's week one. It's 2023. It's a new season. It's a new team. Everything's new about everything we got going on. So it's exciting to get back into this and start at the school. And, you know, I would say it's getting cooler, but it's not. But it's football season finally.
As long as they don't have the heaters on up in the press box on.
There's a good chance that they're still on. I don't know if they turn off.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they do either. So, not to give the folks who maintain it up there a hard time. It's just that's one of the quirks of our press box up there. So, well, you guys have gotten your scrimmage in. You've had 3 full weeks of practice now, pretty much coming up into Friday. First off, the scrimmage against Mayfield. What were your impressions coming out of that?
We were very pleased, and that's something. And we had to adjust at the last minute. We were supposed to be up in Cloudcroft, and where it'd be a lot cooler because that was the first time we'd been outside at 5 o'clock on the turf, and that was warm. So, I mean, it was good for our kids to get to do it, but our kids did a good job adjusting to the schedule immediately and having to change everything, and then they came out and performed really well. And with our varsity crew, we ended up scoring 3 touchdowns in about 35 plays and didn't give up one to Mayfield. And then with our young kids, we gave up 1 to Mayfield, and then we actually drove down inside the 10 and ended up stalling out. But we were very pleased with the question marks that we had going in. We got some questions answered about what our kids are going to be able to do, and the improvement we've had with our young kids that are going to be juniors or seniors this year, and their shot to be play on Friday nights.
And you know, something else that, and I continue to say this about this program, where it has grown from where you started and to where it is now, then just the number of kids from the freshman team to JV to varsity, I mean, it's night and day.
It's huge, and like I said, I don't take any credit for that. I tell parents and anybody in the community all the time, our kids go and recruit kids all the time, and once kids get into our program, the most part, they don't leave. They love what we do. They love the atmosphere we bring. They love the family type environment that they get and the brotherhood. And we're well over 120 kids now that are consistent, that are ready to go. And it's going to continue to grow, and we'll probably end up closer to 130 by the time here in a couple of weeks. And that's exciting, especially when I first got here, and you know how many kids we had in the program, and to continue to build it that way. And that's a huge deal, and that's a credit to the community. It's a credit to our school. It's a credit to our players to continue to do those things and get kids out to come play.
Yeah, and middle schools too. I mean, it seems like the middle school programs have been improving in recent years as well.
They are, and I mean, after you get done with that whole pandemic thing and the numbers died and those kids didn't get to do anything, so seeing those numbers continue to grow in what they call a sport where numbers are continuing to dwindle, ours are going the opposite direction, which is pretty cool. And like I said, that's a credit to everybody associated with Tiger football and putting things going in the right direction.
Well, let's get into the team a little bit. We had a chance to talk to some of the guys last week, but certainly want to get more in depth, and we'll start with the offensive side. You've got a lot of returners on the offensive side that have got varsity time, and it starts with Elijah Montoya, quarterback, and he gets to have his second full year as a varsity starter this year.
Yeah, and then as you go and as you get older, you're going to continue to improve. So now he's a senior, and he's one of the biggest leaders on our team, vocally, getting our kids to line up, and our kids respect him and understand his toughness and what he brings to the table. So we're excited about Elijah. I'm excited for him to have a great senior year for us, to give us a chance to be successful on offense. And you go back to last year, and when we had chances to be really good, we put up a lot of points when we were a lot better than people. But when we were pretty matched, or even when we got to the playoff game, there's times we struggled offensively and we stalled out, and that's something that we got to get better at this year. And I think Elijah understands that, and our skilled kids understand that. Even up front, our kids are going to get better and be improved over last year.
How about that running back? I'm sure we'll see a number of different people back there.
You'll see a bunch of them, and if they're not playing running back, they're probably playing receiver or something else. But we do got a ton of skill kids. They do have kids come back. We got Avion Valdez, who was a receiver last year. He's going to get a ton of carries. We have Anthony Audette, who did get carries last year, but now he's going to get carries and play receiver. We have Dylan Hergenrader, who will get carries, and he got a couple last year as a sophomore. And then we got Devin Barris, who's going to be a junior, who does a great job of being consistent and will get carries for us as well. And that's the whole deal. We want a 2-platoon, but at the same time, we're going to put our best kids on the field in situations where we need to, and so our kids practice both sides of the ball, and we're excited. That running back crew, and we got kids. You go back from last year where we had Damon and Ryan, and they're just 2 great big old bulls that went downhill and hit people, and now we got some explosiveness, some elusiveness, and we can get on the edge and do some things.
And you mentioned those guys obviously probably play wide receiver a little bit. Who else at wide receiver and tight end will we see this year?
Yeah, so our pipe wrench is going to be Andrew Tejas, and he's a kid that was an offensive lineman last year. He did get to play some guard last year, started at guard last year at times, and we moved him back to our pipe wrench or fullback. And then our receiver-wise, we got Michael Gonzalez, who will be a junior, and he's a kid. He might not be the fastest kid, but he might run the best routes we got on the team. You got another young kid that's a junior named Efrain Hernandez that'll also play defense. Marcus Bryant, who did play receiver last year and is also a backup quarterback, and he'll play defense, he'll play receiver. And then we got a kid named Jason Warren, who's a basketball kid, came out this year, and we're excited to get him going and get his feet wet in football and see what he can do on Friday nights.
Yeah, he's definitely a special athlete, and goodness knows every sport will look at an athlete and go, I can do something with that.
Yeah, and he's adapted to what we do. It's something new to him. He's never played football in our program, so seeing his growth and throughout the summer and coming to our workouts and then getting into helmets and shoulder pads and answering a lot of questions and understanding that this is a different thing, and he loves it, and he brings some versatility to us and another dimension of what we can do in the passing game.
Offensive line, there'll be some new faces, there'll be some familiar faces, kind of a mix for you guys going into this year.
Yeah, so we're going to return 3 starters from last year. One is Isaiah Gaskill, who plays center. Another is Diego Garcia, who started the first 3 games, I believe, and then ended up hurting his knee, and he's back for a senior year. He'll start at right guard. We got a junior named Austin Flores, who will start at right tackle for us. This will be his first year on Friday nights. And then our left guard is a kid named Isaiah Venegas, who ended up starting the playoff game and starting a couple other games at guard for us. And then we got a sophomore left tackle that is named Diego Ortega. That's going to be pretty good in the long run, but he's still a sophomore, and he shows glimpses of being a sophomore at times, and that's what we live with when we play sophomores on Fridays.
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, 2-3 years ago, you had a lot of sophomores. This year, it seems to be a little bit more of a mix. I mean, you do have some sophomores, but it's junior, senior. There's a bit more of a balance.
It's not year one where we started 18 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Or even the year that Ryan and Damon and that whole group were sophomores. That was another.
Yeah, we started on that COVID year on defense, especially. But our sophomore kids are very talented. We're excited for that class. They had a real good freshman year, and to get them ready. And what I've told you before is our success will be determined on all our young kids and how fast they can grow up to play on Friday nights and handle that atmosphere.
How about on the line on the defensive side for you guys this year?
We're going to return 3 guys that played last year. We got Rusty Davidson, Isaiah Granados, who was a fullback and defensive end last year. He's going to get to focus defensive line-wise. And then we got a junior named Ty Morrell, who ended up playing a lot last year at the end of the year for us. And those 3 are going to be as good as just about any 3 in the state in that regard. And that was something that we were kind of excited about, is we didn't have to replace a ton of D linemen. And then we got a bunch of our offensive linemen who can go over there and roll and get reps and spell kids. So we do have some more depth D line-wise this year, but our biggest issue is going to be linebackers, because we had to replace just about everybody in that linebacking core.
Yeah, had a big senior group last year, but you do have some experience. I mean, Mason Pittman played some linebacker for you guys.
Yeah, he started for us, and so he's going to be back, and we're excited for Mason because he kind of runs that crew. He'll be an outside linebacker for us. We got a junior who played a lot last year, especially when Ryan or Damon needed a break, named Noel Garza, and he'll be a junior, and he's going to be an inside backer. And then we got another kid that'll be a senior that's been in the program named Devontae Bosserman, who will be very good for us, very athletic. And then outside backer, it's going to be a rolling of who we got, but right now we got a junior named Dylan Hergenrader that's going to play and get a ton of reps, and he did that stuff last year. He was kind of a safety, and we just dropped him down, and we're confident that we might be more athletic with our linebacking core this year, which is a good thing for us. We're not going to might not be nearly as physical, but we will be dang sure more athletic across the board.
In the secondary, it's a mix again. It's kind of like the linebacking core or some of the other spots where you've got some returners, but you also had some places you had to fill in.
Yeah, we returned DeAndre Martin and Anthony Audette at corner, and those 2 kids were really good and made our lives really easy, especially with the safeties. And like I said, both those kids, even DeAndre's going to play receiver for us this year too. So those kids are very athletic. We got to get them on the field, and so when they do that, we're going to have kids rolling in there, and they might be a sophomore who is athletic enough to do it. We just got to get them to grow up and be able to handle that situation. And then our safety-wise, we got Marcus, who will play receiver and go play safety, and Efrain will be a safety back there as well.
All right. Special teams, first year in 7 years that we don't have a money kicking.
I don't even know what to do, man. I don't know what to do when we don't have money. I told them we got to start recruiting and start getting name changes on some kids and start naming them money if they're going to kick for us.
Yeah.
It is different. The sophomore, we got a sophomore kid named Aiden Vasquez who will play corner for us as well, and he's going to be pretty special. Like it's exciting to have a young kid like that again, and be focused and give us some range. And that's something that we were really worried about going into this year. Once we lost Braden, is we were kind of worried about a kicker, and then Aiden, and then we got another kid named Thatcher who's injured right now. But we have some kicking depth, and that's exciting for us. Is that we're still going to be in a good spot where we have something that a lot of other programs don't have is some depth at the kicker and a quality kicker.
Yeah, that's before the monies. The kicking situation in Alamogordo was always pretty rough, so certainly makes a difference.
It's been with the monies. It was very easy,
yeah.
And now we were kind of worried about it. It's still going to be pretty easy. We got two good kids that can do it, and it makes life easier when you know special teams will get taken care of.
What's your impressions from this group so far? I mean, you talked a little about that they seem to have a lot of effort. They want to go out there and play. Every team's a little bit different. What's your impression of this group so far?
This group's and you go back to last year and what that group did last year and that senior class, and it was a big senior class, and to get in the playoffs in 6A and then have a shot to win a playoff game against a quality team. That's a really good program in the state in 6A, and credit to Rio Rancho, they made more plays than us. But our young kids, our juniors and sophomores last year, and now seniors and juniors, took it hard, and that was kind of the mantra all season: is we're going to go and play, and we're going to do this again and do it right and finish it and win a game in the playoffs and continue. And the camaraderie within that group is, and how they've transcended down to the junior class and the sophomore class and welcome them in. And this group might be a tighter group than what we've had before, and that's the exciting part. And I mean, it's easy when you get 80 kids out there doing it. So we're excited for it. They get after it every day. The effort's there every day. The excitement's there every day. We don't really have to do anything to kind of get them amped up and going, and that makes our lives easier, and we get to focus on the X's and O's and aspect. But every day's a joy to go out there and practice with those kids, and they make it fun, and they make it even when you feel old like me, it makes you feel really good and able to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to football practice.
Yeah, it's an early day for them, and I mean I know they've been in the weight room all summer, and they've been, I know you had good participation all throughout the summer this year.
We did, and that's the part we're doing with our program is our numbers keep growing, and our kids understand the importance of being here in the summer and being involved and understanding how to grow and not necessarily just learning football, but becoming a better family. And we do a camp during 2 days where we lock ourselves in and we put cell phones away, and we do a lot of team bonding stuff, and our kids really love that. They buy into it. They beg for it every year to make sure we do it again, and that's kind of what helped spark last year, and we're hoping that can do the same this year with this group.
All right, we'll talk about Silver here in a second, but the schedule as a whole, non-district, it'll be the same with the exception of the Silver game. That's the one change to the schedule this year. But certainly you look at those 4 games, they will all be challenges. I don't think any of them are ridiculous challenges that you guys can't go out there and get an opportunity to win. But between Los Lunas, Riverside, Gadsden, and Capital. Gosh, I'm always going to forget that one.
It'll be a long trip.
Yeah, it will be a long trip for sure. But those are all games that you guys are certainly going to have an opportunity in.
We think so, and we'll see when we go. We haven't worked on Los Lunas yet. We'll work on that after we get done with Silver this Friday and get prepared. But we think our non-district schedule is going to do a good enough job to get us ready. And we talk to our kids all the time that no matter what happens in those first 5 games, the last 5 are the ones that matter, and that's where it really counts. And you get Carlsbad, Cruces, Centennial, Hobbs, and Oregon Mountain. And we talk to our kids and tell them, like, are we doing things on that level? Are we doing things to be able to beat Centennial, to play with Hobbs and beat Hobbs? And that's the level we have to get to in everything we do, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's at practice, showing up on time. That's our whole expectation is we got to get to that level and compete in district.
And you certainly look at district as, you've got 3 teams that are certainly top 10 teams. You could argue they're top 5 or 6 out of Hobbs and Centennial and Las Cruces. We know Carlsbad's going to be solid. We know Oregon Mountain's going to be solid. It is one of, if not the toughest district in the state. Maybe the Rio Rancho Cleveland district's a little bit tougher.
Yeah, but I mean, and that district's always going to be tough, and that's just that metro area and the number of kids they get. And but our district is tough. It is a grind, and people got to see that last year when we go down there and we take Carlsbad down to the wire and have a shot before we fumble it to take the lead and have a shot to win that game, and then we go and beat Cruces at Cruces, and people start to figure out this district's tough from top to bottom. And then you even go to Oregon Mountain last year. That was a quality football team that just had some things not go their way at certain times. I mean, this is a tough district to get through and to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, that'll be difficult. Well, let's talk about Silver this week. That is the change. You guys would have played Valencia, but you switched that out for Silver. One of the best teams in 4A every single year. They're an immense challenge. We saw them in the COVID year. They were pretty young that season. You got to see a little bit of tape, obviously, from them against Gadsden in their scrimmage, right?
Yeah, so and Coach Ortiz over there and his staff, they did a good job. They were a state runner-up last year to Bloomfield, and they made that game a game against Bloomfield and had their shots, and they do a quality job in that program. Silver's always been a quality football program at their classification, and it's going to be a battle on Friday night. We're going to have to play really well to get a win. They do a good job. They got a quarterback that is very athletic, and he throws the ball a lot better than probably kids they've had in a while. And he's a great big sucker named Aiden Hawkes, and so he's going to be a challenge for us. But defensively, they're kind of the same they've been for the last 20 years. If they're going to line up, be aggressive, and they're going to be physical and get after you. And so we got our hands full come Friday night.
Is it a tough matchup for guys that are maybe getting their first varsity experience out there, or are they a group that's going to be starting a decent amount of sophomores and juniors as well?
Yeah, and on their scrimmage, we couldn't tell by numbers because their numbers are a little different. I mean, their running back was wearing 61, so trying to identify kids is difficult, especially in scrimmages. Everybody knows that. I mean, they're going to have the same issues with us and our kids wearing practice jerseys. But I mean, every Friday night, the first game of the year, especially with young kids who haven't experienced a Friday night in that regard and had to make plays on a Friday night when the lights come on and there's thousands of people in the stands and the band's playing. I mean, it's a different environment, but that's why this thing's like a drug and everybody loves Friday night football. So our kids got to come out and be ready to play, and that's our job as coaches to make sure they are. And I think our staff has done a good job the past 2 weeks getting our kids ready for this moment, and I think our kids have embraced and they're excited for Friday night.
Something that's cool for athletics as well this year, there's no charge to get into any of the home football games this year or any of the Tiger athletics this season, so it's definitely, there's no excuse to not come down to the
Absolutely. Game. The only charge will be for reserve seating if you want to sit in the chair back seats. But other than that, man, just come out on a Friday night, support the kids. And you hear me talk all the time, not just football, about everybody that's going to be well. You're going to have cheerleaders there. You're going to have band there. You're going to have student athletic trainers there. You're going to have ROTC out there presenting the colors. It is a great opportunity for people in this community to come out and support kids doing something they love. And I don't want to just say it's about football. I want every event. Go out and support kids doing something in your community and be proud of this community. Our kids wear an A on our shirts all the time because we're proud of this town. We're A-Town. We call it A-Town now. We're Alamo. We love this place. We're built by the A. Our kids are going to be proud to wear that A on our chest, and we want this community to have the same regards to the A and towards Alamogordo, and come support these kids and everything they do. It can be a special environment, and there's a lot of kids that want to showcase their talents, whether that's in cheer or band or our SATs running around doing all that stuff. So it's an exciting time in all events. You got soccer going on, you got cross country going on, you got volleyballs doing tryouts. Like, there's a whole lot of things this community can get involved in and support people, and that's what we want to see, and that's kind of the initiative behind the no cost to get into games is people come out and support kids. Let's make this place special. I've told you a lot of times, there's not very many big school high schools that are in single towns right now, and we're one of them, and we need to make this a place where people understand when they come down Alamogordo, regardless of how good the team is they're going to play when they come here, that they know it's going to be a raucous environment in every athletic event or every competition because the community supports the heck out of it.
All right, Coach, we look forward to it on Friday night, and the Tigers at 7 o'clock will host Silver in the opening game of the season. Appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Go Tigers.